Disclaimer. The content creator makes no claim or representation regarding this action and accepts no responsibility for the quality, content, nature, or reliability of this video. This video is merely to discuss opinions nobody asked for and not to convince anyone of anything. Trust. Today, I'm going to talk about the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case. It's such a mess, but we don't mind a bit of mess over here. I'm a paralegal, so I'm calling this Paralegal Reacts just because I thought it would be kind of catchy. This is by no means going to be a super professional breakdown of everything, as this is not a super professional channel. It's probably going to be more of kind of a glorified commentary, as that's just my nature. I'm just not a very serious person. Okay. And I'm just going to informally talk about my opinions as I would to a friend, if any of my friends actually cared about this stuff. I happen to be a paralegal. I've worked mostly in family law, so I'm a bit passionate about this case because it's kind of similar, well, not similar to what I personally worked on, but you know what I mean. In fact, I wish I was actually working on this case because the amount of research I've done on it, like I should be on the payroll, but of course I'm not. And I don't know more than anyone else, by the way. I'm just going by the evidence that was shared with the public. This is all public knowledge. And I want this to be a discussion. Comment down below if you agree with anything I say. If you disagree, that's what the law is all about. It's just kind of the way you look at things and discussing. It's very gray and sometimes open to interpretation. So let's discuss it. And as long as you just keep it respectful, please. And if you're looking for someone to kind of break down all of the evidence provided and explain things, I'm so sorry, but I'm not the one for you. But I will link down this lady named Lost Beyond Pluto. She's a lawyer and she's very professional. She breaks down all the evidence and explains it all. She's very lawyery, but in a cash kind of way. And I will link her down below. She has tons of insight, so if you're more interested in like a more formal legal analysis, she's the one for you. So yeah, to be honest, I've almost been like stalking this case, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but I found myself following the live Twitter feed sometimes from the UK, which works out to about 4 a.m. my time, and I think at least once I kept it up all day for like all the 8 hours. Just like refreshing, and it's like, oh shit, they're on lunch. So yeah, it's to that extent. And no one in my normal life really cares to discuss this case in depth with me, and that was before quarantine. And now that we are in quarantine, you know, it's getting even harder to find people to talk about this with. My dog is sick and tired of hearing about it, let me tell you. So I am really hoping to get some dialogue going, just because, I don't know, it's nice to find people that are interested in the same things that you are. And to be honest, I've wanted to discuss this case for a long time, but it is such a touchy subject. But I feel like now is an okay time to talk about this. I mean, hopefully. And it's always been fascinating to me. It's very clear that somebody is the liar here, like to quite a large extent. The only question is which one. When they finalize their divorce, like, it's crazy. Like, who would have thought that 3 years later that this would come up again in a defamation case? Like, ever since the defamation case went live, I've been following it like crazy. I've actually read all the legal documents. They have them up on the Virginia court's website, and I've read the whole thing. And girl, there's a lot of pages in some of them, but I've been keeping up with it quite a lot. In Johnny's filing, like when he started the initial defamation case, he came with the facts. What was so crazy to me was when he filed the defamation case, he said that there was an abundance of evidence exonerating him that had actually been withheld by his previous counsel. Apparently, the lawyers withheld the evidence, allegedly because it would implicate one of their clients, Elon Musk. Looking back, I'm assuming they're referring to the multiple surveillance videos showing Elon regularly spending the night at Johnny and Amber's home when he was away. So essentially what they did was they withheld information that would put their client, Elon Musk, in a compromising position, which is completely unethical. It's called conflict of interest, and if you have a conflict of interest, you're supposed to not represent the client. So if they had discovered there was a conflict of interest, rather than give Johnny legal advice to not pursue the case and to settle, they should have been upfront about the conflict of interest and cease to represent him. So what they did was completely unethical, by the way, like 1000%. Johnny says that the evidence that they had, like there was a bunch of it apparently, it was only brought to his attention when he switched counsels and the new counsel was reviewing the file. So yeah, they did actually pressure him to settle, which was insane. So basically they hid all that evidence to him, and I guess when he switched counsel and they reviewed all that mountains of evidence that was actually in his favor, that was actually the catalyst for why all of this came back up now 3 years later. When Amber responded to Johnny's filing documents, she didn't really provide any new evidence. She did change her story in the writing of the actual document itself, and she actually attached previous declarations or documents to her response, and those documents didn't align with what she said in the response. They actually contradicted each other, which somebody's assistant dropped the ball on that one, because how can that be? She also attached tweets, articles as exhibits, which really is not appropriate to provide as evidence in a legal document. But I guess the biggest shock of all, when things slowly started to come out, was when Johnny Depp said that not only did he not abuse Amber, but she was actually the one that was abusing him. And it was shocking when he came out and alleged that she had cut the tip of his finger off by throwing a vodka bottle at him in the middle of a fight. It was a lot, and it still is a lot. With defamation, it's only defamation if the person saying the false statements lied. So in the state of Virginia, the burden of proof is on the defendant to prove that the claims that they made are true. So Amber has to prove that she was abused by Johnny Depp and back up everything with evidence in order to win this case. Her testimony is not going to be enough, unfortunately or fortunately. The cause of action started when Amber wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post named "I Spoke Up Against Sexual Violence and Faced Our Culture's Wrath That Has to Change." And while she never names Johnny Depp, it's pretty obvious that she's referring to him. She says, and I quote, "2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out." Why don't you add him or tag him, girl? Like, you might as well have. She all but spelled out the fact that it was a reference to Johnny Depp because of the timing of their divorce, and people aren't stupid. And just because you don't name the person doesn't mean that it's not considered defamation. Implication can equal defamation. One of the main factors is if the intent was there. And in my opinion, she knew exactly what she was doing, and it was obvious people would know that she was talking about Johnny. I know she tried to have the case dismissed or moved to California a few times, but was never successful. And throughout the case, there have been tons of bombshells as well, including the audio where she admits to starting a physical fight and also saying, "I can't promise I won't get physical again. God, sometimes I get so angry I just lose it." In that audio, she also gaslights him by saying, "You weren't punched. I hate you. It wasn't a punch." And then she yells at him to stop being a baby. It's very aggressive, it's very mean, and in that particular situation, when the recording was made, it's very clear who the aggressor was. And there was one situation in particular that was so insane that you couldn't help but lean towards one side or the other. In Australia, after a fight they had where Johnny asked her to sign a post-nuptial agreement, Johnny alleges she got so angry that she threw a vodka bottle at him and it landed onto his finger, severing the tip. Side note, I know your husband asking you to do a post-nuptial agreement would be hurtful, because it kind of paints a picture that he's either thinking of divorcing you or it's an insurance that in case maybe he will divorce you one day. So I get that point, why it might be hurtful, but you're already married at that point. Like, you know what I mean? You can't really do take backsies, you know? So the cat's out of the bag. Like, what's he gonna do if you don't sign it? He's gonna what? Divorce you? At least if you don't sign it, you're gonna get, more money. It doesn't, like, what would be the motivation to sign it? Like, so to me, as upsetting as it is, what, you're in the position of power. Like, why would you stoop to that, such a low level? You know what I mean? So basically, if what Johnny says is true, congratulations, Amber, you played yourself. And if he wasn't thinking about divorcing you before that, he probably was after he lost the tip of his finger by you, allegedly. To the surprise of no one, Amber Heard denies being responsible for the severing of his finger. She claimed that he was drunk and high in a rented apartment. She said that she was upstairs sleeping and came downstairs to find him completely out of it, and that he had somehow chopped his finger off by himself in his stupor and was writing all over the mirrors, which Johnny does admit to the mirror thing, but her story is kind of conflicting. In one retelling of the situation, she alleges that she was physically assaulted and, amongst other things, tirelessly over the course of 3 days without ceasing. So that doesn't really coincide. Was she sleeping, or was she being assaulted for 3 days nonstop? She says he was high on ecstasy while all of this went on, but I can promise you, nobody ever assaulted somebody for 3 days straight on ecstasy. Maybe they had sex for 3 days straight, or they cuddled for 3 days straight, but assault, not so much. Not to mention, Amber Heard, in her unending wisdom, decided to record all the goings-on and commotion that went on after that event, including everyone frantically trying to find his fingertip. The thing is, it doesn't sound good, and she recorded all of these things herself and then released them herself, even though it doesn't make her look good. I don't get it. But at one point, you can hear her crying, "I didn't mean to do it," essentially admitting that she was responsible. And that's a consensus in the recording that most of the other people that were in the situation were saying or kind of alluding to. All of them were being recorded without their consent, by the way. And I just feel like that was one she should have kept in the drafts, because it's almost like you're implicating yourself by releasing that. It's important to note that Johnny had to go to the hospital to have emergency surgery to reattach the tip of his finger after this event, but Amber received no medical attention except for they upped the dosage of her antipsychotic medication, as by all accounts she was hysterical at that point. And Amber has been relentless in trying to paint Johnny as a huge drinker and drug addict, which he's actually been very open about his past with substances. And according to evidence given by Johnny, she likes to party herself, and I don't know, but that doesn't mean that you are an abuser. Let's just get that straight. There was actually testimony in the UK trial by several witnesses that Miss Amber would drink up to 2 bottles of wine a night, which there's nothing wrong with that by any means. I would be the last person to judge someone for liking to have some drinks. But why make it a point if you were partying just as much, if you like to drink just as much? That makes you a hypocrite. Make it make sense, please. Johnny says that the deal breaker for him was when his housekeeper found human feces in his bed. I'm assuming that the idea was that Johnny would find it himself when he went to go lie down in the bed, which is gross, by the way, and that's how the nickname Amber Turd was born. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole and learn just how deep and messed up this thing goes, I highly recommend going to Incredibly Average's YouTube channel. He does like the best at breaking everything down. He even does animated reenactments of things. He actually has the audio recordings, which I referred to earlier in this video. So if you say, don't take my word for it. If you want to hear this for yourself, it's there. You can listen to it yourself. It's insane. I'll link his channel down below. Highly recommend checking it out if you are interested in this case. He's got hours and hours of binge-worthy content on this. So flash forward to today. There's currently a trial going on in the UK with Johnny Depp versus the Sun newspaper. This action started when they printed an article written by Dan Wooten, who is also a party to the action. And this article is called, "How Can J.K. Rowling Be Genuinely Happy Casting Wife Beater Johnny Depp in the New Fantastic Beasts Film?" Yeah, they called him a wife beater. Not entirely shocking that Johnny Depp is also suing them for defamation, because there is no implication there. There's no mincing words. They were straight up about it. Amber Heard is not a party to this case, but their entire case is based around her testimony. The material, facts, evidence, and witnesses appear to be pretty similar to Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, but essentially the Sun is trying to prove Johnny Depp abused Amber in order to avoid a judgment made against them for the defamation. So I have been following that trial via live tweets, and so far, from what I can read, they haven't been doing a great job of proving beyond a reasonable doubt that Johnny Depp abused Amber. I'm going to be going through the transcripts of the UK case in later videos and kind of going through the important parts or things that really stood out to me, just to kind of break it down and everything. So yeah, this was kind of like a brief overview and background of the main points. If you knew nothing about this case and you're just finding out about it through this video and you want to learn more, I, again, definitely recommend checking out the two YouTubers I linked down below. They will paint the best picture better than I ever could. So yeah, stay tuned for upcoming videos about this case. I think I'm probably going to make it into a series, Paralegal Reacts. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, please don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell so you can stay updated on the next videos. And if you're still here, thank you so much. You're a real one, and I appreciate you so much. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.